The Headley thing gets begun by Mike Rinder, starts the whole thing out with this pronunciamento about the Constitution and how it's just horrible. The First Amendment's this horrible document. I actually jotted down his quote. Quote, religions under the Constitution of the United States basically have free reign to do what they want to do, and your option is to leave the religion. Because the First Amendment says effectively the government, including the courts, may not entangle themselves in the decisions about the ecclesiastical or religious practices of any religion. End of quote. And as is ever present with Rinder, it's a fairly accurate rendition of the law, except he's got his own special twist on it, as they always do with their infinitive all-inclusive. It's not there's exceptions to everything, okay? And Rinder's giving this from the outset because the Headleys, who were the part of this episode, are telling the story, and they brought a lawsuit, which is based upon their narrative, and they were thrown out of court, and it was upheld by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and they were out of luck. And so, in order to take that sting away, Rinder gives this altered pronunciamento about what the law of religion is. He's correct in the fact that if you do have a beef, your option is to leave, okay? What he doesn't disclose, and which the Headleys don't disclose, is they were always able to leave. And that, more important than the constitutional principle, which is which is a throwaway in many respects, it's a given. The Ninth Circuit was more of a factual decision than a constitutional decision, because they focused on the fact that for the entire time that the Headleys were in Scientology, they had the option, and they could have easily exercised the option to go. You would never know that from watching the segment. You get the idea that they literally walked in one day, a door was open, they threw the key away, and they were locked in. I mean, the Ninth Circuit went through in detail about it, all the opportunity over all the years that they could have left. They were developing a disaffection. Bottom line is, you know, the ASC has adopted this explanation as to why the FBI investigation into Scientology that was prompted by the Headleys and the Headley case didn't result in the banishment of Scientology, was they were saved by the Constitution again, right? And in fact, the facts of the matter are, with respect to the FBI and with respect to the courts, what the Headley was, and they just won't say the truth of what happened. They were screwed by the facts. You could take the Constitution right out of the picture, and they were screwed by the facts because the opportunity to leave. Okay. Which comes down to how did they paint this picture for the Headleys? By the same sleazy tactics that Rinder and Remedy have been perfecting through this whole series, and that is they make all these statements about what the policies of the church is with respect to abortion, with respect to, you know, families and all this sort of thing. All inaccurate, all exaggerated, all sensationalized. And then they have Claire say a few things, and they have Mark say a few things. And then they have Mike or Remedy coming in and saying what they said, interpreting what they said against not just what they said, but against the false datums that they put in originally. And so it's just a complete legend in your own mind, reality creation, you know, projection, the projection of self that one wants to project. In this case, Remedy and Rinder are creating the Headley narrative. I mean, she contends that she was, quote unquote, forced to have an abortion, right? She never says that. She doesn't even say that she was coerced to. She doesn't even say that she was persuaded to. She wouldn't even say that anybody suggested it to her. But she didn't. But you get the impression that she was forced to, based on the subjunctive introductions, subjunctive laden introductions by they would and they could and they should and they might and they, okay, and if this then that Remini and Rinder are piling on with. You get the impression that she said, hey, somebody put a gun to my head and said, get an abortion. Yeah, so, having said that the show doesn't support, the Headleys don't support what the show says about themselves, and they're there to say it because Rinder and Remini say it for them, right? Mark Headley, as is his habit, does just like Tom DeVock, Ron Miscavige, and Jeff Hawkins before him. He's been telling his story for, I don't know how long, many, many years, and all of a sudden it's now sensationalized. It's a different story than what he originally told. Throughout his lawsuit, throughout the many media he's been involved in, through a book he wrote, you name it. Now, the guy who said he got hit, punched, now had the quote-unquote shit beat out of him by the quote-unquote Pope, who Mike Rinder gratuitously puts in, David Miscavige liked to be known as the Pope. Entirely and utterly manufactured. He literally manufactured that. Never happened.